This introduction to the Hyakunin Isshu took place amid the beautiful scenery of Kyoto, the very place of its origin. More than 8 centuries have passed since its creation. Within this landscape, the 100 poems, sung over the span of 700 years, appear one after another, like fireworks dancing in the night sky. It is as though fragments of memory are drifting across the heavens, like an airship of memory, or a time warp transcending space and time. The background music features the third movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, arranged for piano by Liszt. It creates a mysterious staging in which Fujiwara no Teika of the Heian era, Beethoven and Liszt of the 19th century, and we ourselves in the present day, all seem to gather together across time. This is nothing less than the trajectory of memory flight that Fujiwara no Teika launched toward the future in the year 1235. And now in 2025, it feels as though Beethoven, Liszt, and Fujiwara no Teika have time warped to once again sit together in Kyoto, the birthplace of the Hyakunin Isshu. The Hyakunin Isshu is not merely a classical anthology. It is also a voyage through culture across the ages, one that can be savored from a science fiction perspective as an airship of memory. Origins and Overview. Hyakunin Isshu is a classical anthology of waka, compiled in 1235 by the Kamakura-period poet Fujiwara no Teika. It gathers one poem from each of 100 poets, weaving together 100 voices into a single timeless collection. Within these verses lies the resonance of nearly 7 centuries of history, from Nara and Heian through Kamakura. More than a mere compilation, it is cherished as a bouquet of poems, an anthology beyond time, distilling the culture of Japan and the delicate sensibilities of its people. Viewing the Hyakunin Isshu as a work of science fiction, the 100 cards of the Hyakunin Isshu embody the thoughts of 100 poets selected by Fujiwara no Teika and reflect the very history of Japan. Contained within them is the long flow of nearly 7 centuries, from the Nara and Heian periods to the Kamakura era. The content is strikingly diverse: poems of love, verses of encounters and farewells, poems describing journeys, and others that evoke a narrative world. Spread out across tatami mats, these cards form the very anthology that Teika compiled, an anthology that transcends 700 years and still lies before us today. The themes are wide-ranging. Some poems were written by poets in exile, carrying the character of requiems for history. Many others focus on love, and the feelings expressed by female poets in particular recall the characters of the tale of Genji. In this sense, the collection has the atmosphere of a world time-traveled from Murasaki Shikibu's literary universe into our own. Originally, waka poetry was meant to express quiet Japanese sensibilities and deep inner emotions. By contrast, modern competitive karuta has transformed into a high-speed contest of snatching cards, which some feel is far removed from the original spirit of the poems. Yet even there, the essence of the Hyakunin Isshu, its role as a vessel of memory, remains alive. Although the Hyakunin Isshu was compiled in the Kamakura period, it has not been forgotten in the flow of history and has endured into the present day. When observed as a kind of science fiction work, it opens up a fresh and enjoyable way of appreciating this timeless anthology. At first glance, the Hyakunin Isshu may not seem like science fiction. There are no spaceships or futuristic technologies in its pages. Yet this anthology, compiled in the Kamakura period, has traveled 8 centuries to arrive in our present as a memory object. Its 100 poems, drawn from 700 years of history, form a vast map of time. Love, exile, battle, and longing crystallize in brief verses, each capturing the spirit of its age. Remarkably, the collection is also organized around the number 100, creating an Excel-like grid of memory. Each poem may appear fragmentary, but together they unify along a timeline, reflecting a hidden structural logic that anticipates even modern ideas of information and memory science. In this sense, the Hyakunin Isshu is not only a cultural treasure, but also a time-traveling memory device, a quiet experiment in human imagination that still speaks to us today. The allure of classical culture. From ancient times, waka was regarded as an essential refinement within the aristocratic world. In 31 syllables, it distilled the heart's passions, love and longing, the fleeting seasons of nature, and the impermanence of life itself. In the 100 poems chosen by Teika, the luminous and delicate sensibilities of the Heian court still breathe. The verses that portray spring, summer, autumn, and winter serve as mirrors, reflecting both the Japanese view of nature and of life, awakening resonances that speak to us even in the present age. Hyakunin Isshu as a vessel of memory. The 100 waka of Hyakunin Isshu were born one after another across a journey of 7 centuries. Each poem is thus a fragment of memory, an emblem of Nara, Heian, Kamakura, or even the world of the tale of Genji. The very framework that gathers these 100 verses becomes a memory device, a vessel that time warps across long ages. For more than 800 years since its inception, these 100 poems have endured, never forgotten, passing from children to the elderly, carried within the minds of countless generations. Viewed through the lens of science fiction, Hyakunin Isshu may be called an airship of memory, soaring through the skies of every era, and even now, it continues its flight toward the future. A rare structure in world literature. Across the vast landscape of world literature, there are scarcely any works shaped by the number 100, preserved in memory across the centuries. Hyakunin Isshu is a singular classic, perhaps concealing within it some hidden device designed to safeguard remembrance. Even today, traditions such as the Chihayafuru tournaments, the annual Ogura Hyakunin Isshu Karuta Championship at Onijingu in Shiga, and the National High School Karuta Championships continue to thrive. These celebrations are, in truth, a grand experiment in memory, relaying the sensibilities of those long past from generation to generation through the 100 poems that endure. Hyakunin Isshu. Hyakunin Isshu is both the flower of classical literature and at the same time a work that holds within it the science-fictional dimension of time warping through memory. This dual allure continues to captivate people even today. To enjoy Hyakunin Isshu on a t-shirt is to hold Japanese culture in one's hands, while also receiving an invitation to embark upon a journey that transcends time itself. The science-fictional airship of memory. Through Hyakunin Isshu, we gaze upon the same moon as the people of Heian and feel our hearts stirred by the same springs that once moved them. It is not merely a classical anthology, but also a realm of memory's architecture and time warp across the centuries. At the same time, it becomes a vessel that awakens science-fictional imagination, a memory airship, asking profound questions of us who now grapple with themes such as AI and the workings of the mind, and the future of thought. This t-shirt presents Hyakunin Isshu as a sutra of 100 characters. The red marked characters signify female poets. There are 21 in total. On the top row, 2 red dots represent Empress Jito and Ono no Komachi. Because it is a brief sutra of only 100 characters, even young children can easily memorize it. By chanting aloud, Shushin Sokuden, the words naturally become etched in memory. One of its unique features is that it can be enjoyed even before learning the traditional method of memorization through the Kimariji, the decisive opening syllables in Karuta. Whether or not one plays competitive Karuta, this design allows people of all ages, from children to adults, to feel Hyakunin Isshu close at hand. Moreover, for those abroad with an interest in kanji, it offers both an opportunity to learn the characters and to encounter Japanese culture itself, serving as a bridge for cultural appreciation and exchange. This sutra is a culmination of modern knowledge in the art of memory. Kanji, as pictographs, possess a visual quality that greatly aids recollection. By transposing each poem of the Hyakunin Isshu into a single character, one engages vision, hearing, and even the prefrontal cortex, enabling efficient memorization. Once learned, the sutra allows the entire Hyakunin Isshu to be surveyed from above, like a drone's map of the poems, placing their structures and sequences clearly within the mind. As a result, one can readily recall poem numbers and opening verses. In the field of mnemonics, the memory palace is well known. This sutra functions in much the same way, serving as a map of a palace for viewing Hyakunin Isshu. Each of the 100 kanji becomes a memory seed, helping to internalize a millennium of waka with clarity and order. The karuta based on this sutra has been granted a Japanese patent, while the t-shirt design has secured design patents in both Japan and the United States. It stands as a unique intellectual property, an innovation that contributes both to the spread of Japanese culture and to the advancement of memory techniques. Upper Verse Sutra, Sum Footfield. The sutra is read aloud rhythmically, as if kana were inscribed above the characters. Each single kanji represents, in order, one of the poems, and the interplay of sight and sound, the visual and auditory rhythm carried by the characters, serves as an aid to memory. The 10 characters here each represent the upper verse of the first 10 poems. The same pattern continues in like manner all the way to the 100th poem. Introduction of the invention, patent certificate. The invention is entitled Hyakunin Isshu Karuta and a method to assist in the memorization of Hyakunin Isshu. Specifically, each poem in the anthology is assigned 3 kanji characters, one representing the upper verse, one for the lower verse, and one for the poet. For example, in the first poem by Emperor Tenji, the upper verse, Aki no Ta, Autumn Fields, is represented by the character Chu, Aki, Autumn. The lower verse, Waga Koromode, My Sleeves, by Wo Ar, and the poet, Emperor Tenji himself, by 1010, Heaven Emperor. By arranging the poems from 1 to 100 with these kanji assignments, a continuous sequence of characters emerges. This sequence may then be used to construct mnemonic sutras, or compact 3-character verses, Sangen Zetsuku, designed to aid memorization. The designed structure of memory. In this invention, the structure of the Hyakunin Isshu is conceived as 100 layers of memory. Running through these layers are 3 strands of kanji, representing the upper verse, the lower verse, and the poet, which serve as the horizontal threads. These threads also form a temporal axis, spanning from the first poem to the 100th, and reflecting nearly 7 centuries of history. Through this system, the overall memory framework of Hyakunin Isshu is completed. Within each layer lies a 3-character verse, a triad of kanji combining the upper verse, lower verse, and poet, functioning as a nickname for each poem. These triads stand like vertical threads, intersecting the horizontal strands. Together, the crossing warp and weft weave a new tapestry, a novel method of memorizing Hyakunin Isshu. The first 5 3-character verses. Concretely, they are expressed as Aki wa ga tenchi, haru koro jito, ashinaga kakino, tagofuji yamabe, okukoi sarumaru. Each triad links the kanji for the upper verse, the lower verse, and the poet, forming a 3-character verse that encapsulates the poem. These verses often include phrases familiar from karuta play, and in their brevity and rhythm, they convey both the 31 syllables of the waka and the name of the poet. In the art of memory, this process is known as chunking. By condensing information into rhythmic, memorable units, the result is a series of compact, resonant verses that settle naturally into memory. All of the 3-character verses. As mentioned earlier, the 3-character verses embody the principle of chunking, a mathematically precise method of information processing and a foundational concept in the art of memory. The words contained within these verses, drawn from the upper verses, lower verses, and kimariji, decisive syllables, are ones long familiar to those who play Hyakunin Isshu. Because they are already etched into the mind through repetition, they are particularly easy to remember. Moreover, the 3-character verses become powerful tools in karuta play. By condensing not only the upper and lower verses, but also the poet's identity, they serve as ideal mnemonic nicknames for each poem. From the sound and rhythm of the words alone, each waka can be recalled almost reflexively. In explaining the poems, the 3-character verses also reduce the strain of listing poem numbers and verses in sequence. They allow for concise, rhythmic, and clear commentary. For beginners, beginning with the 3-character verses makes learning Hyakunin Isshu both faster and more enjoyable. It offers a fresh and innovative approach to memorization, unlike any method before it. These are the first 4 flashcards along with their lower verse counterparts. On the upper flashcards appears the sequence Shu Shun Sokuden, while on the lower cards is written Gaicho. In this way, by employing sequences of kanji, the Hyakunin Isshu can be committed to memory. Hyakunin Isshu, a classical treasure Japan can take pride in, is not only a literary anthology, but also a vessel rich in scientific resonance, time-warping imagination, and material for the study of memory. It serves as an ambassador, a bouquet, that conveys 7 centuries of waka and the sentiments of those who lived them. Now, 800 years since its inception, I feel a profound gratitude for being able to share with the world, through this t-shirt, the singular allure of Hyakunin Isshu. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to the many people who have supported this invention, to the examiners of the Patent Office for their recognition, and to my parents and family for their unwavering encouragement. September 6, 2010, Hajime Oguri. This introduction to the Hyakunin Isshu took place amid the beautiful scenery of Kyoto, the very place of its origin. More than 8 centuries have passed since its creation. Within this landscape, the 100 poems, sung over the span of 700 years, appear one after another, like fireworks dancing in the night sky. It is as though fragments of memory are drifting across the heavens, like an airship of memory, or a time warp transcending space and time. The background music features the third movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, arranged for piano by Liszt. It creates a mysterious staging in which Fujiwara no Teika of the Heian era, Beethoven and Liszt of the 19th century, and we ourselves in the present day, all seem to gather together across time. This is nothing less than the trajectory of memory flight that Fujiwara no Teika launched toward the future in the year 1235. And now in 2025, it feels as though Beethoven, Liszt, and Fujiwara no Teika have time warped to once again sit together in Kyoto, the birthplace of the Hyakunin Isshu. The Hyakunin Isshu is not merely a classical anthology. It is also a voyage through culture across the ages, one that can be savored from a science fiction perspective as an airship of memory.